All right, guys, welcome to the Go Accomplish More podcast. And today we have a really, really good one. We're going to talk about how to delegate to elevate, how to build an AI ready team to scale with stability. And this is a topic where a lot of people are building their team without AI. And there's a lot of agencies building their team with AI, and they're trying to eliminate everyone. So today we're going to talk about just that. I believe that you need both to build an AI ready team in order to help you scale. So have you ever felt like your agency still depends on you for everything? Well, for me, 7 years ago, I had no mentors, no systems, just a calendar full of tasks. And I remember that I was in hustle mode, right? Where I was doing everything. And I remember that the next year, right, I was so drained out that I had a health crisis, right? And in 2016, I was literally wiped out. 90% of my clients were wiped out overnight. But let me tell you something. I was so grateful that I had one team member that I had hired. I was so grateful for that person because I was hit with an environmental illness, which was mold, that caused havoc all over my body. Literally, I had over 10 symptoms. But the point is that I couldn't work for almost 9 or 10 months. But I was so grateful that I had that one VA, that one person that was managing everything. And by the time, at that time, we probably had 5 or 6 clients. We lost like 3, and then we only ended up with 2 clients. But I was so grateful that he was there. By the grace of God, I recovered. When I came back, I only had 2 clients. And I had one team member still with me. And I was so happy that he was with me. But then I had to drive Uber, right? Because it wasn't enough money, right? Let's be real. When you're starting your agency, it's hard. A lot of times you're not making enough money. You're paying a lot on taxes. There's big overheads. Imagine driving Uber till 2 a.m. while I was trying to grow my business. So what happened was that growth started feeling like pressure and not freedom. So by 2019, so think about it, 3 years later, the business looked great from the outside, like with a lot of clients, a lot of revenue, a lot of momentum. But behind the scenes, every meeting, every email, every fire fell on me. Staying up late, half cold coffee, stressed every time I stepped away. I'm sure you've been in those shoes before where you just want to save the day. You want to make sure that you do the things, right? And you're saying yes to everything. But little do you know is that it's not healthy. This isn't just about business. It's about life. And revenue, as you know, is not freedom. Revenue is not freedom. It's just a busier, more stressful job. Landing big clients also without systems is more chaos, not more freedom. If your business can't run without you, you are the bottleneck. So this is what I call the revenue mirage, right? It's costing you more than you think. It's causing you to burn out, right? Where you have strained relationships. You're always on, but never present. You have no time for big picture thinking. You're always reacting and not leading. And then you have profit erosion, right? The inefficiencies, you feel like you're the firefighter, and that's killing your margins. And one analogy that comes to mind is I remember when I would go see my daughter play volleyball, I would always notice all the dads, right, on their laptops. Some of them had their laptops, some had their phone. And they were there. And I remember one individual that was, constantly getting phone calls, and he looked burned out. Not only that, but he wasn't present, right? And I made a decision most of the time, okay? Sometimes I felt victim of it, but most of the time I made a commitment that when I was in my daughter's game, I was going to be present. I was going to be present most of the time, right? But you know what? Sometimes it happens because you fall into the revenue mirage, right? And you think it's not costing you, but it is. So today I want to show you how you can scale your agency without doing everything yourself. with the right people and AI. And I want you to understand, to have a different mindset about this. Stop being the operator, take that mindset out, and start being the architect. Move from doing things to designing how things get done. And the beauty of this is that most entrepreneurs, they're already the architect. They're already getting the ideas. They're getting too many ideas because they have shiny object syndrome all over. But now you have the opportunity where you can delegate your ideas not only to a team member, but to a team member that is fueled by AI, that knows how to use AI, that can do more output. And that is the secret weapon when you do that. Being the smartest in the room isn't the goal. So if you're the one with all the answers, you've built the wrong room. And I would learn how to delegate earlier and smarter. Trying to do it all kept me stuck. Delegation isn't about giving tasks anymore. It's about giving ownership. So let's talk about some truths here. The first truth is that you are the bottleneck. And if you're listening to the show and you're probably saying, John, but I'm not the bottleneck. I already have a team. I have a full team. I have a full ops manager. I have an account manager. I have a fulfillment team. And that's great. But I really believe there's still some bottlenecks that you can take care of. So truth number one is, depending on what level you're in, you are the bottleneck. Early grind builds momentum, but eventually turns into fear of letting go. The founder's trap is, if I don't do it, it won't get done right. I mean, have you said that before? I mean, if you're listening to this show, I'm sure you said that. So how about this one? If I don't do it, it won't get done right. That's one of the things that we all say, right? So I want you to remove that so that when everything runs through you, nothing moves forward without you. So truth number two is, hiring alone won't fix your agency. Hiring without structure is just chaos. Hiring without training is also frustration. It's like throwing water on a grease fire, only making it worse. So before you post a job ad, define the measurable result you want that role to drive. Highly recommend. And I think what happens most of the time is that most agency owners, they hire, out of desperateness, and they don't really plan the role. They hire, but they don't have the right structure. They don't have the right SOP for that team member because they're in rapid growth, right? But my recommendation is for you to understand that hiring alone won't fix your agency. And if you do hire, make sure you hire with the right structure and the right SOP for that person coming in. And truth number three, and this is a big one for all of you, is that AI alone won't save you either, right? I know the thing is right now with Claude, with Manus, with OpenClaw, you think that they're going to do everything for you, which it's amazing. I mean, we're starting to implement Manus and Claude, but you still need the architects. And I'll tell you a story. I remember just a few weeks back, we had a live session in my mastermind group, and there was an individual talking about how good OpenClaw was. And everybody was so excited, so pumped. But then a few weeks later, they said, you know what? OpenClaw is great, but it's very, very hard to tame that beast. And then they shifted now to Cloud Cowork. And then now they're shifting it to another one. So in the end of the day, if you didn't have a human behind it, how are you going to perform it? So I really believe that AI alone won't save you either. Now, it removes repetitive tasks, but it doesn't replace human ownership. AI can handle drafts, cluster keywords, and even automate reports. You still need an A player to pilot the ship. So I believe the future is having a great team with AI and an elite team with AI equals freedom. And the agencies that win will combine both, not choose between them. And yes, AI buys back speed for sure. and having an elite team drives ownership. But here's the mind shift change. If you combine both, that's what's going to allow growth in your agency. So I want you to take this time right now that you're listening to this podcast, and I want you to think where is the bottleneck right now? So I want you to stop what you're doing right now and just take a few minutes, right? And ask yourself, where am I being the bottleneck, right? And I want you to ask these 3 questions. Number 1 is identify the fires. Write down 5 client fires or problems that you're having this month. Pause this session right now and write down 5 client fires or problems that you're having this month. Once you calculate that, number 2 is calculate the score. So every time you're going to put either for me as yourself or your team. So write down all the fires and figure out which ones are the ones that I'm supposed to do and which ones are the ones my team is supposed to put out. And calculate your bottleneck score. So the next one and final is share and commit. Share with another agency owner what your score is so that you can keep accountability high. So if you scored 1 or 2 under the me section, that's pretty good delegation. If you scored between 3 and 4, you are a significant bottleneck. And if you scored 5 out of 5, your business or agency cannot scale without a change. You're understanding how important it is right now to delegate, right? Because if you're not delegating, it's not going to allow you to scale.